Welcome back to English 4.0, the radio show. Let's go! Advanced. All right, welcome back to the program. Advanced class number 170 today. And yes, I am joined once again by special guest, none other than my brother Harris in the studio once again. How are you, Harris?
Hey, it's nice to be here again today.
Good, good. Well, it's great to have you. And yeah, he's in town for a couple days, so taking advantage of a special guest here. And we can do a little review of the content that we saw yesterday and hopefully get to expand a little bit more on that last exercise. We kind of ran out of time a little bit. But let's start with a few questions, forming questions here with the question word when. So here, again, I'll give you the answer, and you can ask me the question that I've already answered. Are you ready for this one, Harris?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, he's ready. So the first example, they said we could start the process on Friday.
When did they say we can start the process?
That's right. They want us to be there on Wednesday.
When do they want us to be there?
When do they want us to be there? When do they want us to be there? Yes. I'm going to see her this Friday if everything goes as planned.
If everything goes as planned, when are you going to see her?
Right. If everything goes as planned, when are you going to see her? Or, of course, you could reverse the order of the condition and the conditional, and you could say, when are you going to see her if everything goes as planned? This Friday. I'm not sure, but if everything goes as planned, I will. Right? They finished it at 6 o'clock.
When did they finish it?
When did they finish it? When did they finish it? Say it again.
When did they finish it?
When did they finish it? What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
I'd like to know when they finished it.
Yeah, I'd like to know when they finished it. Kyle, when did they finish it? I'd like to know when they finished it. I think it can be ready by September.
When do you think it can be ready by?
Yeah, good. When do you think it can be ready by? Nice. So that means sometime before September, you're thinking, right? By September. Hopefully.
September at the latest.
September at the latest. Yeah. October? No problem. Before then. By then. Okay, so there we go. A little review with question words. Questions with the question word when. And now we'll move on again to one of my favorite structures here. This is the well, again with the interrogative, but practicing with the present perfect and the simple past. So I'm gonna please instruct you to ask me some questions. Ask me how many letters I sent last week. So at home, ask me. And Harris is going to ask me that question as well.
How many letters did you send last week?
Right. How many letters? I didn't send any letters last week. Ask me how many I've sent so far this week.
How many letters have you sent so far this week?
How many letters have you sent so far this week? I haven't sent any so far this week. You could say, and what about this week? And what about this week? Oh, yeah? And what about this week? And so far this week? I haven't sent any so far this week. Harris, how many banks did you rob last year?
I did not rob any banks last year.
I did not. Give me the contraction. I didn't.
Oh, I didn't rob any banks last year.
I didn't rob any banks.
None.
I didn't rob any bank. He did not a single one.
Nope.
And so far this year?
So far this year, I didn't rob any banks.
I haven't robbed any banks so far, right?
I certainly haven't.
Ask me how many times I played poker last month.
Last month? How many times did you play poker?
I played poker once.
Last month?
Last month. Ask me how many times I've played poker so far this month.
So far this month, how many times have you played poker?
I haven't played poker so far this month. Ask me how many times I bit my tongue last week. Very painful, isn't it?
It hurts. Now, this is a painful question. So last week.
Last week.
Last week. So not this week or not the week previous, but last week, how many times did you bite your tongue?
Yeah. Last week, how many times did you bite your tongue? Or simply, how many times did you bite your tongue last week? Either way, right?
Yeah.
I didn't bite my tongue last week. Did you bite your tongue last week?
I did not bite my tongue last week.
To bite your tongue. It hurts.
Ow!
Yeah, very painful. I didn't bite my tongue last week. And ask me how many times I've bitten my tongue so far this week.
How many times have you bitten your tongue so far this week?
I haven't. Fortunately, I haven't bitten my tongue.
That's a relief.
Yeah, every day I bite into a sandwich. Yesterday I bit into a sandwich, and lately I've bitten into a sandwich. Bite, bit, bitten, right? The verb to bite. Harris, how many times did you fly to France last year?
I flew to France a few times last year.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true, you did. And so far this year?
So far this year, I haven't flown to France.
Ask me how many times I flew to France last year.
How many times did you fly to France last year?
I didn't fly to France. I had to think about it, but no, I didn't fly to France last year. Ask me about this year. Hey, Kyle.
How about this year?
Yeah, how about this year? We know that you didn't fly last year, but how about this year?
What about this year?
What about this year? No, I haven't flown to France this year either. Right? Tampoco. I didn't fly last year, and I haven't flown this year. I didn't bite my tongue last week, and I haven't bitten my tongue so far this week. How many funny jokes did you hear yesterday?
Yesterday, I think I heard 2 funny jokes yesterday.
Ask me how many funny jokes I've heard so far. Ask me how many funny jokes I've heard so far this week.
So far this week, how many funny jokes have you heard?
I've heard a few.
It's hard to count exactly how many, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Gotta
But
keep
I
track.
have a student in the morning who tells me jokes. He often tells me jokes. But I think I've heard a few so far this week. All right, well, good. There's a good little review of yesterday's content. Let's move on now to something new. Let's take a look at our expression of the day. Expression of the day. All right, it's time now for the expression of the day. Today's expression is to sleep like a log. Like a log. Como un tronco, you'd say. To sleep like a log. What does that mean?
Well, it means to sleep very deeply or very soundly, to not wake up, to sleep
Yeah,
uninterrupted sleep.
yeah, to sleep really well and long and deep.
Deeply, heavily.
Yeah, it's the best kind of sleep, if you ask me.
You can enjoy that sleep.
Yeah, it's great. And I think, well, really, you have the same dormir como un tronco, you say in Spanish. But to sleep like a log. Did you sleep like a log last night? Hey, because Harris recently showed up at my house. And so he's staying at my house for a few days. And how are you sleeping in there?
It's been great. I've been sleeping like a log.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You've been sleeping like a log.
Actually, folks might be familiar with that popular rock and roll song from the 60s or 70s in which it was a hard day's night, and he's been working like a dog and sleeping like a log.
Exactly.
It's a popular use of that phrase.
When you work like a dog, do you usually sleep like a log?
Absolutely.
I think it's true. I think hard work makes you tired at night. If you work hard during the day, usually you keep your energy level up, I think, during the day, and then at night you get tired and you sleep well. I find. It's days when I'm not doing much that I find I don't sleep well. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, I think that's correct.
To sleep like a log. Ask me if I slept like a log last night.
Did you sleep like a log last night?
Not really. I didn't sleep like a log. I actually woke up a few times through the night. I don't know why. But lately I've slept well. But last night I didn't really sleep like a log. Anyway, let's move on now to take a look at something new. Here we are in class number 170. By the way, this means we have only 25 more classes, right? So moving along. So hopefully you're paying attention, following the content, taking advantage of these radio programs and the television as well, following along with the grammar, working hard. Here we have a phrasal verb, which is to set up. In Spanish, you'd say montar. Montar un negocio, por ejemplo, to set up a business. To set up a business. To set up a company. We have. So, because we don't say to mount a business. But I hear that sometimes. People say, oh, yes, I mounted a business. No. I only hear that in Spain, I've noticed. Because we say to set up. We use the phrasal verb to set up a business. To mount would be to get on, like you can mount a horse. Like the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Because historically they were mounted on horses, right?
That's right.
The Policía Montada de Canadá, very famous. And our father was a member.
That's right.
Of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the RCMP. We use that acronym. And so we have, yes, we see the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. That's what that acronym stands for. And the thing about acronyms that you have to remember is in English, we usually pronounce acronyms according to the individual letter, RCMP. Of course, you'd have to do that in Spanish as well, but things like the CIA. You know, Harris, in Spain, they say the CIA. Whereas in English, we always prefer to use the letters, usually. Like we say UFO, whereas in Spain, they'd say UFO.
Yeah, and some people say VIP. Oh, you're a VIP, but we would not say that. We'd say you're a VIP.
You're a VIP,
That's right.
Not a VIP. Now, I understand a UFO is really un ovni in Spanish, which is objeto, a flying object, in English, an unidentified flying object. Oh, my friend, he's very intelligent. He studied at UCLA, they say. And we say UCLA, right? And we have a phrasal verb here, which is to stand for, which is significar, to mean. But we typically use the phrasal verb to stand for when we're talking about acronyms. What does UCLA stand for, Harris? Do you know?
It's the University of California at Los Angeles.
Correct. It stands for. What does FBI stand for, Harris?
Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, it stands for. Say it again. Give me the full thing.
The Federal Bureau.
It stands for.
Sorry. It stands for the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, that's right. It stands for. What does it stand for? What does that stand for? So we have the phrasal verb, right, to stand for, which we tend to use when we're talking about the letters that are representing, the letters in an acronym, right? To stand for. But here, set up, to set up a company. Have you ever set up a company?
No, I have never set up a company.
Would you like to set up a company someday?
I think it could be interesting.
Ask me if I've ever set up a company.
Have you ever set up a company?
No, I've never set up a company. Ask me if I'm thinking about setting up a company. Remember, thinking about, más gerundio, plus the ing. Thinking about, to think about, gerund, ing. Ask me if I'm thinking about setting up a company.
Are you thinking about setting up a company?
Yeah, now at home, what does he want to know? He wants to know if I'm thinking of
setting up a company.
Setting up a company. No, I'm not thinking of setting up a company right now, but someday. Yeah, I'm thinking of setting one up someday, but not this year, let's say. Now, Richard Vaughan set up Vaughan Systems, right? He set it up in the 70s. I think he set it up in 1977. It was founded. So we have another verb, the verb to found. Not find, but found. And this is a regular verb, founded. It was founded, right? Founded. To found, and it was founded. It seems a bit confusing because people think it's the verb to find sometimes, but it's not. The verb to found. I believe he founded the company in 1977. He set it up. So to set up a company. If you were going to set up a company, what kind of company would you set up?
Yeah, I don't know.
No?
You know, companies aren't the only thing you can set up. You can also set up your camera.
You sure can. You can set up a computer, like montar, in the sense of montar, for sure, to set up a computer. I'm not good at setting up computers. They've been setting up, the last couple days here at the radio studio, they've been setting up a new soundboard. They've been setting up some new equipment here. So we've had a few little moments, let's be honest. There have been a few moments, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Because they're setting up things. But it's nice because at the end, when everything is set up, it's going to be loud and clear and it's going to be wonderful. Well, it's great now. It's great. But they're still in the process of setting up some new equipment. All right, so there we go with our phrasal verb to set up. Now we can move on and take a look at our vocabulary of the day. Vocabulary of the day. All right, it is time for the vocabulary of the day, our 5 words of vocabulary. And the first word is enano. Now, my brother Harris, he has no idea what that means in Spanish.
Nope.
But Harris, in English, it's a dwarf.
A dwarf.
Dwarf.
Okay.
D-W-A-R-F, like a little person. He's small. He's like a miniature. Dwarf.
That's right.
Dwarf. 1 dwarf, 2...
Dwarfs.
Dwarfs or dwarves?
Yeah, I guess dwarves.
The 7 dwarves, right?
Yeah, Snow White and 7 dwarves.
Because, we have this special, I believe it's dwarves.
You're right, yeah.
We have a special relationship between the V and the F. Did you know that, Harris? Have you ever thought about... I spend a lot of time thinking about special relationships between letters. And one of the strongest relationships going is that of the V and the F. 1 dwarf, 2 dwarves.
1 wolf, 2 wolves.
Exactly. 1 wolf, 2 wolves. We see it the other way when we have, for example, 5. And when we turn that to the ordinal number, it reverts to its friend 5th. I live on the 5th floor. The V, we don't say 5th. It would be very difficult to even pronounce that word. We say 5th. And understanding this special relationship helps us to develop good pronunciation habits with the V that is challenging for many Spaniards. So you have to think of the V, really, it's nothing more than a voiced F. It has nothing to do with the B of Barcelona, right? Because in Spain, they say the B and the V there are pronounced the same.
Yes.
In Spanish, right? But in English, they're not similar at all. In English, it's an F. It's secretly an F with the vocal cord activated. I say victory. I take my F. Victory in Valencia. Very good V, right? It sounds good, right? It's a good V. It's a voiced F. So if you have trouble at home, if you're having trouble pronouncing that V, think of the F and activate your vocal cords, and you'll get that nice V. Right, Harris?
That's right.
Prometido, para casarse. This is engaged, to be engaged. Are you engaged?
I am not engaged.
No, me neither. Características, features. Do you look at, when you go to buy a new camera, for example, do you look at the features? Do you consider the features?
Yes, I look at all those features.
It's important to consider the features. The next word is dotado, which is gifted. Oh, he's very gifted. He's good at that. He's gifted. Is Eric Clapton a gifted guitar player?
Yes, he is a gifted guitar player.
Absolutely. The final word is martillo, which is hammer. Hammer for driving nails. Martillo. Hammer. We're out of time, ladies and gentlemen, so I want to thank you for listening, and thanks for coming in, Harris.
Thank you.
We're going to cut the program there. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.